Hello everyone, welcome to the Stalwart Initiative, and we're back for another look at Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. This time we're moving on to the spells. We're going to take a look at all the new spells, and there's a few reprints of older spells that are now in Tasha's. First up, we're going to go from the cantrips up in level, and we're going to start with Booming Blade. And right here it shows the school of magic that it belongs to, whether it's concentration, whether it's a ritual spell, and all the classes that have access to the new spell. With Booming Blade, it is a cantrip, takes one action, the range is self, cast it on yourself, and you brandish the weapon used in the spell's casting and make a melee attack with it against one creature within 5 feet of you. On a hit, the target suffers the weapon's normal effects and then becomes sheathed in booming energy until the start of your next turn. If the target willingly moves 5 feet or more before then, the target takes 1d8 thunder damage and the spell ends. This spell's damage increases when you reach certain levels. At 5th level, the melee attack deals an extra d8 thunder damage to the target on hit, and the damage it takes for moving increases to 2d8. And so on and so forth as we scale up there. Cantrip scaling, good stuff. At first, I'd say up until level 5, this isn't that great. In fact, we'll see one here in a little bit that's able to give you AoE effect, get do multiple targets. But once you hit 5th level, especially if you have at any point an extra attack, this does scale better because you get the D8 initial damage. And mind you, the extra damage up until 5th level it's not until / unless they move. So Booming Blade scales well, but I don't think it's overly fantastic at lower levels. But on the other hand, Green Flame Blade, also used by these same classes, I think scales well, and it's good from the start. So it is also an action to cast it, and you use a melee weapon attack. Now keep in mind that your melee weapon attack is not a spell attack, so that's going to go based off of your attack, your regular melee attack stats. So if you're using a weapon to cast this, then you have to go off those stats, unless you have a class feature or some other feature that allows you to use your spellcasting modifier for that instead. You brandish the weapon used in the spell's casting to make a melee attack with it against one creature within 5 feet of you. On a hit, the target suffers the weapon's normal effects, the attack's normal effects, and you can cause green fire to leap from the target to a different creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of it. The second creature takes fire damage equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. This spell's damage increases when you reach certain levels. At 5th level, the melee attack deals an extra d8 fire damage and to the target on a hit, and the fire damage on the second creature increases by to 1d8 plus your spellcasting modifier. So you can see this will scale quite well indeed, because you're going to get that initial damage. Once you reach 5th level, you're going to get that initial damage on whoever you're hitting, and then also the flame that jumps from them to another target also gets increased damage. The damage that you're getting initially is flat damage, so it's not going to be a whole lot, but it is reliable, especially if you put a lot of points into your spellcasting modifier, which most of the classes, all but Artificer, are full casters, so you're probably going to do that anyway. So you're more than likely going to start out with a 2, 3, and possibly even 4 modifier, and that's going to be flat damage. At lower levels, that will definitely hurt the opposition. And even at higher levels, it scales well. Green Flame Blade, just all around good cantrip. Next up, we have a new one. Those two are reprints. The new one is a Lightning Lure, and this is also for the same classes. And it's a range of self. The spell is range of you, but as you can see, or as you will see, there is a range beyond that. So you create a lash of lightning energy that strikes at one creature of your choice that you can see within 15 feet of you. The target must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pulled up to 10 feet in a straight line toward you, and then take 1d8 lightning damage if it is within 5 feet of you. This spell's damage increases by 1d8 when you reach 5th level, so on and so forth. So scales like a normal cantrip. This is like an arcane version of Thorn Whip. The Thorn Whip has twice the range, but only does a d6 damage. And Thorn Whip is an attack roll, whereas this is causing the target to make a strength saving throw. So kind of gauge that how you will. Some enemies you fight are more dexterous and some are more strong. So if you're trying to yank strong creatures to you, I have a harder time. But all in all, I like it. I like it as an option, like a mid-range option there. Next up, we have Mind Sliver, and this is only for the Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard. Sorry, Artificer, no love here. And we'll just read this one down here. So this has a range of 60 feet, and the duration of this is around, though it's not concentration, the effect just lingers. You drive a disorienting spike of psychic energy into the mind of one creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or take 1d6 psychic damage and subtract 1d4 from the next saving throw it makes before the end of your next turn. The spell's damage increases by 1d6 when you as it scales. So the damage is kind of mediocre. It's only a d6, but it's psychic damage, which less things are resistant to, and it is a d4 subtracted on their next saving throw, which could potentially set you up or allies up to give them status effects or damage between now and the end of your next turn. It's a little mini Bane, right? It's a little mini Bane spell. So yeah, all right, that's cool. Next up we have Sword Burst. And this is kind of why Booming Blade wouldn't really be. I would rather pick this over Booming Blade in some situations. So this is an action. It's instantaneous. This is you create a momentary circle of spectral blades that sweep around you. All other creatures within 5 feet of you must each succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 1d6 force damage. This spell's damage increases by 1d6 as it scales. So this is good and bad. This isn't good in all situations because, one, it's all creatures within 5 feet of you, so that includes allies. And also they must make a dexterity saving throw. So like the converse side of the lightning lure, this you really want to go towards the slow and possibly strong creatures rather than the quick and the quick and lithe. So the damage isn't great, but it is force damage, and a lot. There's very few things resistant to force damage in 5e. So yeah, all in all, good spell. Wouldn't take it all the time, but it is nice AoE. So if a bunch of smaller creatures get on you, little Sword Burst might help clear the air there. So now we're going to move on to the only new first level spell we get is Tasha's Caustic Brew. It takes an action. It has a range. It's range of self, but it goes out in a 30-foot line. And this one's concentration. Artificer, Sorcerer, and Wizard get this. A stream of acid emanates from you in a line 30 feet long and 5 feet wide in a direction you choose. Each creature in the line must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or be covered in acid for the spell's duration or until a creature uses its action to scrape or wash the acid off itself or another creature. A creature covered in the acid takes 2d4 acid damage at the start of each of its turns. So this is not the strongest, but it can help you in action economy. The damage is mediocre, 2d4 damage for using a spell slot, using a first level spell slot or higher. Although it does scale pretty well because it's every level instead of like the every 2 levels like certain spells are. It's a dex save, which a lot of things are dexterous, but it is if you have like a hallway or you have a specific way to hit multiple targets, it's gonna get them. And obviously, they're going to have to use their action to get the acid off or have some other entity, creature, or otherwise use their action to get the acid off of them. So you're wasting their action economy, which is good. It is rough that the damage doesn't even trigger until the start of their turn. So something can come and wipe it off, and they take no damage from the spell. The only caveat there is that something has to use its action to clean the creature off. So yeah, it's useful. Next up, we have the first of our summoning spells. Most of our summoning spells are a little higher level here. They'll start at like 3rd level, but this is the only 2nd level, and this is the Summon Beast, and the Druid and Ranger get this. So I'm going to go over something right here. We're going to have a bunch of summon spells coming up, and they all are framed in the same way. And, you know, how the creature scales and all that. Oh, great, lovely. Hopefully it shows me a link here. Okay, good, right there, Bestial Spirit. So yeah, we'll take a look at the stat block of the creature, but yeah, just know that they're all structured the same way. So the spell itself takes an action, has a range of 90 feet, and these will all scale. The components needed to cast the spell will all scale with the levels. So second level summon spell is going to take 200 gold piece. What is it? Gilded Acorn. So Gilded Acorn worth 200 gold pieces, and all the 3rd levels will cost 300 gold pieces of whatever their special ingredient is. These are concentration up to an hour, and Druid and Ranger gets this. You call forth a Bestial Spirit and manifest in an unoccupied space that you can see within range. This corporeal form uses the Bestial Spirit stat block, which we'll look at in a minute. When you cast the spell, choose an environment, air, land, or water. The creature resembles an animal of your choice that is native to the chosen environment, which determines certain traits in its stat block. The creature disappears when it drops to 0 hit points or when the spell ends. The creature is an ally to you and your companions, and in combat, the creature shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It obeys your verbal commands, no action required by you. And if you don't issue any, it takes the dodge action and uses it to move to avoid danger. Or uses its move to avoid danger. So yeah, this is the first of our summon spells. Let's take a look at Bestial Spirit. And I'm not going to go over all these, the minutia every time we go, but we're going to do it here for the first one. So it's going to be a small beast. Its armor class is going to be 11 plus the level of the spell. I like the way this scales. So if you upcast this, the armor class is also going to go up, amongst other things. So 11 plus the level of spell at base. This is 13 AC, which is a lot higher than some animals get love. And the hit points, if you have the air, it's going to start out at 20 plus 5 for each spell level, or for each spell level. Only. So 20 plus 5 for each spell level above 2nd level. Okay, I thought it was 5 and additional. Okay, so you get 20 for air and 30 for land and water. All of them get a speed of 30. The land form gets a climb speed of 30, and the air form gets a flying speed of 60, which is yikes. It's a big leg up there. And the water form gets the swim speed of 30 feet. And we can see our stat block here. They have dark vision, passive perception of 12, understands the languages that you speak. The air one has flyby, which means it can weave in and out without getting opportunity attacks. The land and water get pack tactics, which is super powerful, giving them advantage on their attacks. And the water one gets water breathing. And they get, for actions, they get multi-attack. The beast makes a number of attacks equal to half the spell's level, rounded down. So this is going to be another one of those things that's going to transfer over to each of these summon spells. This is only one attack because the spell is a 2nd level spell. So base will have 1 attack. But if you upcast this using a 4th level spell slot, then your creature will get 2 attacks. See, it will scale up with however high you cast this spell. And they're all like that. So your maul attack, they all get the same attack. It's the maul attack, and it is it's a melee weapon attack. Use your spell attack modifier to hit. It has a range of 5 feet. Hits one target, does 1d8 plus 4 piercing damage, plus the spell's level. So the damage for these is going to be decent, even at base here. Granted, in higher level of play, this is just going to get wiped off really quick if you cast it at its base 2nd level. So you're not going to get a whole lot of attacks off, especially when you only have 1 for each of them. But yeah, this is basically a beefed up familiar. Hey, cool. A beefed up familiar that can attack and do it well. And they're pretty mobile. They obey your commands. Pretty decent. So that is Summon Beast. Okay. Next one should be quicker when we hit the other ones. Next spell is Tasha's Mind Whip. It's a second level spell, our first second level spell. Second level spell. Takes 1 action, range of 90 feet. Sorcerer Wizard can cast it. You physically psychically lash out at one creature that you can see within range. The target must make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 3d6 psychic damage, and it can't take a reaction until the end of your next turn. Moreover, on its next turn, it must choose whether it gets a move, an action, or a bonus action. It gets only one of the 3. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage and suffers none of the spell's other effects. This is really good, and I got to see this in action last week in a game. So, very useful. The damage for a second level spell slot isn't great, but it is psychic damage, which is nice. But the main thing here is that it can, when it hits a creature, when they fail to save, they have to choose movement, action, or bonus action. One of the 3. That's fantastic. And even better, when you upcast this at 3rd level or higher, you get to add an additional creature for every level over second, potentially half or 2/3 shutting down the action economy of the enemies. Oh, this is so powerful. Scales well. Like I said, the damage isn't great, but that's okay because the effect you're getting from the spell is fantastic. And even if they fail, they take a little bit of damage. Next up, we have Intellect Fortress, and hey, Bard's getting a little love now. I love the art here. Love the Illithid and party art. Love it. Okay, it takes 1 action to cast. 1 action to cast. Range of 30 feet. It's a concentration spell. Artificer, Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock, so on and so forth. For the duration, you or one willing creature you can see within range has resistance to psychic damage, as well as advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. This is good. This is very useful. A wonderful defensive spell, and I can see this ending up in a lot of Bard spell lists. So it's good. It's not not proactive, right? You're here. It's only resistance and advantage on stuff, but the advantage you get for wisdom and wisdom and charisma, and some wisdom and intelligence, and sometimes charisma saving throws can be crucial, as well as psychic damage if you're facing something that is heavily oriented on psychic damage. Intellect Fortress, useful spell. Next up we have Spirit Shroud, and 3rd level spell. It only takes a bonus action to cast, which is good. It's range of self and has no material components, which is also good. It's concentration up to a minute, and you call forth spirits of the dead, which flit around you for the spell's duration. The spirits are intangible and vulnerable. This is much like Spirit Guardians. Until the spell ends, any attack you make deals 1d8 extra damage when you hit a creature within 10 feet of you. This damage is radiant, necrotic, or cold, your choice when you cast a spell. Any creature that takes this damage can't regain hit points until the start of your next turn. In addition, any creature of your choice that you can see that starts its turn within 10 feet of you has its speed reduced by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. I see this being very useful for paladins and some cleric, warlock, and wizards, some particular subclasses and ones with special features. But you have to hit, to get the full benefit out of this, you have to hit with the attack. And those other classes by default, like I said, unless the subclass specifies otherwise, only get 1 attack. So I can see paladins getting a lot of use out of this because of the extra damage, and also the negating the healing as well as the movement. But if I was a cleric and I only have so many spell slots that so many spells you can prepare each day, I'd probably go with Spirit Guardians over this, because you're already going to get rid of their or reduce their movement anyway with that and deal a lot more damage, and it's for certain as long as they start their turn. So Spirit Shroud I'm not that crazy about, although it will be useful for paladins. The other 3 classes, not for me. So our second summon spell, like I said before, these all scale pretty much the same way. When you cast it, we're going to cast, you choose a mood. So fuming, mirthful, or tricksy. So those are just the 3 different forms you're going to pick. 300 gold pieces as far as how much you're paying for your component, your cost component there. And let's look at the Fiend Spirit block. So already it has a higher armor class. And let's see, 30 hit points plus 10. Okay, so yeah, the hit points are the same. At least like the land one before. Speed of 40 feet. It's immune to being charmed, which is great. And it knows Sylvan and understands the languages you speak. And they all three of them get phase step, which is wonderful, which is really cool. Keep it immobile. So, and they can use this as a bonus action. Your spirits can use phase step as a bonus action every turn. The Fate magically teleports up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space it can see. Then one of the following effects occurs based on the Fae's chosen mood. Fuming? What? Oh, okay. Fuming. The Fae has advantage on the next attack roll it makes before the end of this turn. Mirthful can force one creature it can see within 10 feet of it to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. Unless the save succeeds, the target is charmed by you and the Fae for 1 minute or until the target takes any damage. And Trixie, the Fae, can fill a 5-foot cube with 5 feet of it with magical darkness, which lasts until the end of its next turn. So they get a free Misty Step every turn. Great, fantastic. And what's the mirthful effect or fuming effect? Has advantage on the next attack roll. Okay, cool. So you can have a better chance to hit the creature. My favorite, the mirthful, you have a chance to charm the creature every turn. And you can also use the spirit to kind of exact your will because it's also charming the creature. And Trixie does a 5-foot cube of darkness, which is okay. Strategically, it's okay. You could fill a doorway or something like that. I would have liked to have seen a 10-foot cube, but I understand. I understand, like, you got to balance it out there. So a free, very tiny darkness spell. And multi-attack, they get number of attacks equal to half their spell level, rounded down. So at this point, we're 3rd level, right? I believe it's a 3rd level spell, so it's still only 1 attack unless you upcast it. Let's see, so, yep. 1d6 plus 3 piercing damage, plus 1d6 force damage. So we're really scaling up the, plus the spell's level. We're really scaling up the damage here. So these things are quick, they jump around, they do phase step, they do pretty decent damage up front, and they don't really have anything else going on for them, except for they are immune to being charmed. So immunity to charm, phase step, and they hit pretty decent. Yay. Summon Fae. Next summon spell is Summon Shadow Spawn. This is for the Warlock and Wizard. And, ooh, that's a pretty one. Okay. And I'm not going to go through all the exact details. Let's just take a look at its... there it is, Shadow Spirit. Let's take a look at the Shadow Spirit stat block. Let's just go right into it there. So they have a lower AC, but they have more hit points than the Fae. And they are resistant to necrotic damage, which can come in useful. They are immune to being frightened. They have superior dark vision, 120 feet. And so you get to pick either a fury, despair, or fear shadow spirit. So the fury one gets terror frenzy, and that spirit has advantage on attack rolls against frightened creatures. So, we're going to see something here where we can frighten them to set that up, but it's kind of conditional and meh. Next one is the Weight of Sorrow. The Despair only gets this. Any creature other than you that starts its turn within 5 feet of the spirit has its speed reduced by 20 feet until the start of that creature's next turn. This is a truly powerful way to lock down your enemy. A reduction of 20 feet is brutal. So cool. You want the Weight of Sorrow to get right up in there and reduce the speed. Yikes. It's going to be hard getting away from that. And the Fear one, the Fear Spirit, gets Shadow Stealth as a bonus action. While in dim light or darkness, the spirit takes the hide action. Okay, that's powerful. Yeah, that's powerful. Let's see what else they get. They also get the multi-attack and of half its level, and they all get Chilling Rend. It's a melee weapon attack. Adds all the normal goodness. It's 1d12 plus 3 cold damage, which cold damage can be resisted on several creatures, but 1d12 plus 3 is pretty hefty. Actually, the Fate was even better than that because I had that extra die of force damage. And the once per day they get Dreadful Scream. The spirit screams. Each creature within 30 feet of it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC or be frightened of the spirit for 1 minute. The frightened creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself as on a success. This is only once per day. And see this Terror Frenzy here. If you miss that, right, if that doesn't affect anybody or the particular target you want frightened, you're not getting this benefit. So I would almost always go Despair. That is really powerful. Reduction of 20 feet movement, really powerful. Other than that, and just the bonus action hide is nice, but I'd just go Despair. Despair is great. Despair is good. Okay. Let's see here. That is the Shadow Spawn. Let's move on to the Undead. Oh yeah, that's right. Let's just slide right into the stat block. Okay, we're looking at so Ghostly and Putrid get. Oh wow, Skeletal only gets 20 hit points. Okay, and I'm guessing Ghostly can fly 40 feet. Nice. They're immune to necrotic and poison, which is great. Which are great things to be immune to. You could put it on the front line if whatever you're dealing with is dealing predominantly necrotic and poison. They're immune to a lot of things: exhaustion, frightened, paralyzed, poison. Very cool, very cool. So the Putrid one, the Putrid Undead Spirit gets Festering Aura. Any creature other than you that starts its turn within 5 feet of the spirit must succeed on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC or be poisoned until the start of its next turn. Okay, just poisoning things for being around it. That's useful. That's useful. And there's no limit to this. So like once they pass it, that doesn't necessarily keep them from getting poisoned again. So that's nice. Some effects are only like once they pass it, they're good for 24 hours or a day, whatever. Okay, next up is Incorporeal Passage, and the ghost gets it. The spirit can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. If it ends its turn inside an object, it is shunted to the nearest unoccupied space, takes 1d10 force damage, and for every 5 feet traveled. Ooh, that's brutal. Okay, so your little ghost buddy can travel through objects, creatures and objects, which is cool. And they get multi-attack, the same as all the other spirits. And the ghost gets Deathly Touch. It's a melee weapon attack and does 1d8 plus 3 necrotic damage plus your spell level. The creature must succeed a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC or be frightened of the undead. See, look, this does the frighten too, and it can keep doing it over and over. It's not relying on it. I think the shadow ones just weren't that. They were kind of lackluster, except for that Despair one. The other two were lackluster because this can frighten every turn. Even though it's one target instead of an AoE, at least it can keep doing it. So Ghost is pretty cool, can move through stuff, and it does decent damage. The skeleton has, or the skeletal spirit has Grave Bolt, ranged spell attack. You're basically it's doing 2d4 plus 3 necrotic damage for a range of 150 feet. This is your archer way in the back line. Way in the back. It's not doing great damage. This thing doesn't have a whole lot of health. It doesn't have it. I don't really care for the skeleton. It doesn't really have any cool features. It's just your archer. It's an additional that's not too bad for just a bland, NPC archer. Plus you get the spell's level. So that's not too bad. But yep, it's an archer. It's like Army of Darkness. Archer, skeleton archer in the back. The Putrid one gets Rotting Claw. Melee weapon attack, and it's a d6 plus 3 slashing damage. That's not very much. What else can it do? If the target is poisoned, which we know the Putrid automatically, if the creature is around it, it has a chance of being poisoned. If the target is poisoned, it must succeed on a con save against your spell save DC or be paralyzed until the end of its next turn. Woo! That's good. That's good. Especially when you get multi-attack on this, and you have more chances to hit. But if you hit them and they're poisoned, they're having a bad day because they're poisoned. Now they're paralyzed on top of that if they fail the con save. Pretty cool. I like the theme there. I like it. It's a little harder to pull off, than to get the full benefit that the ghost gets just for being around. But yeah, I like it. Pretty cool. Okay, now that we're done with the undead, chug, 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 chug. Aberration. And Aberrant Spirit. Sorry, I gotta fly through these. These are a ton of spells, and we're already in for quite a bit. Okay, so we're gonna look at here. Okay, now I'll just basically run down the differences here. So what are our 3 types gonna be? Looks like our 3 types are gonna be Slod, Beholderkin, and Starspawn. So they all get Psychic Immunity, which is nice. The Slod gets Regeneration, makes sense. The Aberration regains 5 hit points at the start of its turn if it has at least 1. So it's got the Slod Regeneration. The Starspawn has Whispering Aura. At the start of each of the Aberration's turns, each creature within 5 feet of the Aberration must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC, or take 2d6 psychic damage, provided the Aberration isn't incapacitated. I really wish they would have said besides you, like all other creatures besides you. Kind of suck if you have to take that too. But 2d6 damage, that's wow. That and psychic damage, that will add up. That'll definitely add up. Okay, and those are the passive abilities, and the actions. They get a number of attacks equal to half the spell's level. Makes sense. And the slot uses its claws. The claws do 1d10 plus 3 plus your spell level. And if the target is a creature, it can't regain hit points until the start of the aberration's next turn. So the slot is regaining hit points every turn and keeping you from healing every time it hits you. With decent damage. 1d10 plus 3 plus your spell level. Decent damage. And the Beholderkin is another archer. It has a ranged spell attack. Although this archer is cooler because it can fly, right? Yeah, 30 feet. 30 foot fly speed. Yeah, see, this is way better. It does 1d8 plus 3 psychic damage plus spell level. It has a range of 150 as well. So pew pew pew, you're shooting eye rays with the Beholderkin in the back line. And the Starspawn gets Psychic Slam. Melee spell attack. Does 1d8 plus 3 plus your spell level damage. Okay, so this is pretty bland, right? But remember, it also gets this Whispering Aura, which can add up pretty quickly. The 2d6 psychic damage, AoE, Aura, every turn. Yeah, that can add up. That's pretty powerful. The Aberrant, I really like the Aberrant. Aberrant Spirit, ha. Next up we have Construct. And this is the one the Artificer gets, right? Yeah, the Artificer gets this one. Cool. Okay. Crap, I gotta find the thing. Maduji Construct? Is this it? Can I click on it? Oh, that's not it. Why have you led me astray? Okay, there we go. It's immune to poison. It's immune to it's immune to a crap ton of conditions. All those conditions there, ton of them. It's got dark vision, and so it can pick metal, stone, or clay. You're making a golem, essentially. I was really hoping for some like clockwork craziness, but nope, we're going the golem route. So you get heated body as a metal, as a metal construct. A creature that touches the construct or hits it with a melee attack within 5 feet takes 1d10 fire damage. There's no save on that. That is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So 1d10 damage every time it's hit with a melee attack. And next one is the stone construct. When a creature this construct can see starts its turn within 10 feet of it, the construct can force it to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save, and the target can't use reactions. If it fails, it can't use reactions, and its speed is halved until the start of its next turn. Ugh, that's brutal. That's brutal. Now remember, that's all creatures, so that kind of sucks. And it's a 10-foot aura, so you need to give your stone construct quite a bit of room there. They get multi-attack. They all have the same attack. Slam attack, 1d8 plus 4 plus spell level. Meh on the damage. These things are just looking like you're up 13 plus the spell level. So these are tankier. You're getting tankier golems here. The clay one gets Berserking Slash, which can be useful in certain situations. When the construct takes damage, the clay one, it makes a slam attack against a random creature within 5 feet of it. So it sounds like we have to give this one plenty of room as well. If no creature is within reach, the construct moves up to half its speed toward an enemy it can see without provoking an opportunity attack. So if you just set it on its own and let it go, it'll do pretty well, and it'll just be a force of nature over there. But yeah, it's you gotta give it some room so it doesn't attack your people. Okay, constructs. I was meh. I'm not too. Had high hopes for constructs. Not too overly enthusiastic with the offerings. Okay, elemental spirits. We have, what do we have? Water, air, and earth. And oh wow, I thought these would be hardier. Okay, there we go. The earth has a burrow speed, the air has a hover speed, and the water has a swim speed. Shocker. They are resistant to their, appropriate elements. Well, I guess they're, when it's not directly correlated. So damage resistant. The water is resistant to acid. The air is resistant to lightning and thunder, and the earth is piercing and slashing. The fire one, oh yeah, I forgot about the fire one too. The fire one is immune to poison and fire, and they have a slew of condition immunities right here. And let's go down. They have amorphous form, so they can squeeze into a space 1 inch wide without squeezing, like without doing the actual squeezing condition thing. And they have multi-attack, so yay. They all have slam attacks. 1d10 plus 4 damage plus your spell level. That's all bludgeoning damage unless the fire one does fire damage, which is not actually great because a lot of things are resistant to fire. These aren't that great. They're tanky. They have all these immunities and resistances. That's what they're there for. Much like the construct, it is your meat shield. So bring in the elementals for your meat shield. 2 more summons to go. Summon Celestial. Now we're getting to the higher level, the juicy stuff. The 5th level here with the Celestial Spirit. It is resistant to Radiant. It's immune to Charmed or Frightened. And yeah, it's pretty decent. So it's either going to be a Defender or what's the other one? Avenger. Defender or Avenger Celestial Spirit. So it has a number of attacks equal to half, so you're getting at least 2 attacks here. And the Avenger gets a Radiant Bow. And the Radiant Bow is a huge range, does 2d6 plus 2 radiant damage plus your spell level. And the Defender gets a Radiant Mace. And the Mace does 1d10 plus 3 plus your spell level. And the Defender, if it hits you, the Celestial can choose itself or another creature it can see within 10 feet of it, or 10 feet of the target. The chosen creature gains 1d10 temp hit points every time it hits. Pretty sweet. And Healing Touch. Both types get a Healing Touch once a day. And even if you need a quick heal, just bust one of these out. Even if you're not a healer, have them heal your party. The target magically regains hit points equal to 2d8 plus the spell's level. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. So base level, that's a 5. 2d8 plus 5 healing. Not bad. And you get a Celestial out of it. How about that? Yeah. So more powerful, but not your tanks that we've been dealing with before. Now we move up to Fiend. 6th level Fiend Spirit. And click. Okay. Let's see here. Little tankier. Okay, yep. The devil flies. I'm sure it'll be some kind of artillery. Shocker there. Okay, so we have Demon, Devil, and do we have the Yugoloth? Yes, Yugoloth. Okay. They're resistant to fire, immune to poison, and poison damage, or poison condition and poison damage. The Demon does death throws. When the Fiend drops to 0 hit points, it explodes. Each creature within 10 feet makes a save or takes 2d10 plus the spell's level and fire damage, or half as much on a success. So the good part about that is it's not save or suck. You at least get half damage off that, which is nice. The Devil gets Devil's Sight, and Magical Darkness doesn't impede its dark vision, which is nice. They all get magic resistance, and number of attacks equal to half the spell's level, and this is a 6th level spell, so you get 3 attacks with each of these. The Demon has a bite attack, does 1d12 plus 3 necrotic, so the Demon doesn't get anything extra because it already got the death throws. The Yugoloth, this is its first feature besides first unique feature. Okay, let's see. It's a melee attack. 1d8 plus 3 plus spell level. Immediately after the attack hits or misses, the Fiend can magically teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space it can see. So as long as the Yugoloth is attacking, it gets, much like the Fae got, it gets a Fae step. But that's not a Fae step. It's just basically a Misty Step within 30 feet. So this is very mobile. Moving around the battlefield, attack, poof, attack, poof. You know, this can do this. It can do it 3 times. It doesn't even have to hit. It's just when it attacks, it has the option of teleporting and not getting opportunity attacks, making it very mobile and very dangerous. The Devil gets Hurl Flame, ranged attack. It deals 2d6 plus 3 fire damage. Ooh, it's a lot more damage than our previous archers. The target's flammable. Okay, catches on fire. So yeah, that is the Devil is a flying archer for your backline. Okay, that is the Fiend. What else? Do we have one more? No, that's it. That's it for our summon spells. Now let's finish up our last 3 unique spells. Tasha's Otherworldly Guys. Okay, so Tasha's Otherworldly Guys is a 6th level bonus action transmutation spell, and it basically gives you a crap ton of buffs. Gives you as a caster a crap ton of buffs to make you more temporarily viable in combat. Honoring an incantation, you draw on the magic of the lower planes or upper planes, your choice, to transform yourself. You gain the following benefits until the spell ends. You're immune to fire and poison damage if you pick the lower planes, or radiant and necrotic damage if you pick the upper planes. You are immune to the poison condition, lower planes, or the charm condition, upper planes. You have spectral wings and they appear on your back, giving you a fly speed of 40 feet. You have a +2 bonus to AC. All your weapon attacks are magical, and when you make a weapon attack, you can use your spellcasting ability modifier instead of strength or dexterity. That's important for the attack and damage rules. You can attack twice instead of once. When you take the attack action on your turn, you ignore this benefit if you already have a feature like extra attack that lets you attack more than one. Okay, so it gives you a slew of benefits. This could, you could really rock with this. Right, you're essentially becoming a powerful, almost like an angel or something, and as a caster, you get to get up in there. But if you get up in there and you lose concentration on the spell, things get bad. But they do give you lots of buffs, so very cool, very cool. Okay, next up we have Dream of the Blue Veil. Also, oh no, that's 7th level, not 6th level. My casting time of 10 minutes. Range of 20 feet, duration of 6 hours. Oh, the Bard can cast this one. I didn't notice that before. Bard can cast this as well. You and up to 8 willing creatures within range fall unconscious for the spell's duration and experience visions of another world on the material plane, such as, I don't know how to pronounce this, Olaf, Toril, Kryn, or Eberron. If the spell reaches its full duration, the visions conclude with each of you encountering and pulling back a mysterious blue curtain. The spell then ends with you mentally and physically transported to the world that was in the visions. To cast this spell, you must have a magic item that originated on the world you wish to reach, and you must be aware of the world's existence, even if you don't know the world's name. Your destination in the other world is a safe location within 1 mile of where the magic item was created. Alternatively, you can cast the spell if one of the affected creatures was born on the world, which causes your destination to be a safe location within 1 mile of where that creature was born. The spell ends early on a creature if that creature takes any damage and the creature isn't transported. If you take any damage, the spell ends for you and all other creatures with none of you being transported. Boy, would that stink to be in the middle of this process and to get just one little tick of damage and get pulled out. Yikes. Oh wow. I guess a little bit of thoughts on that might be nice. There we go. So this is really cool. This will allow you to plane jump. I don't know what you call it in D&D. Magic, it was planeswalking, but allow you to go to other planes through a dream state spell. Very cool. Very cool. As long as you have to have, if you look at the components here, you have to have a magic item or a willing creature from that world to cast the spell. So there is a hard stipulation there too. Last up we have Blade of Disaster. 9th level spell. This better be good, they say. Casting time 1 bonus action. I like it already. And range of 60 feet. Concentration of up to a minute. And Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard. You create a blade-shaped planar rift about 3 feet long in an unoccupied space you can see within range. This is just to give you a heads up, this is the Omega version of Spiritual Weapon, minus the spiritual. The blade lasts for the duration. When you cast this spell, you can make up to 2 melee spell attacks with the blade, each one against a creature, loose object, or structure within 5 feet of the blade. On a hit, the target takes 4d12 force damage. This attack scores a critical hit if the number on the d20 is 18 or higher. On a critical hit, the blade deals an extra 8d12 force damage for a total of 12d12 force damage. As a bonus action on your turn, you can move the blade up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see, and then make up to 2 melee spell attacks with it again. The blade can harmlessly pass through any barrier, including a wall of force. Excuse me. Wow. Okay, so this is powerful. Oh man, it's powerful. But it's tough. A 9th level spell, right? When we're rocking Wish and we're rocking, Meteor Shower or Meteor Storm, stuff like that, you're rocking all these earth-shattering abilities. This gives you a roided up spiritual weapon. I like it, and I'd love to see it in action. But man, if you only hit them normally, or if you miss, that's a lot feels bad. Or if you get hit and lose concentration before you get your mileage out of it. But if you crit, if you bring it out, you get 2 attacks. If you crit and it sticks around for a minute, that's a lot of damage. And that's a 10% crit, 10% crit, not 5%. That's good. Oh, I like it. At the same time, that's a bold move, Cotton. Whew. Okay, I have gone. This is horrendously long. Thank you very much for joining me. This was the spells. There is a section reiterating about spell customization. It's basically flavoring your spells any way you like, as long as they mechanically work the same. I encourage that with all my players. Hope you do too. And yeah, that's it for the spells. We'll get magic items and magic tattoos then. Thank you if you made it this far. Whoo! Thank you. What a journey. That took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Remember, unity is strength. So, take care of each other. Stay safe, and I'll see you again real soon.